All right, so we'll call the regular business meeting of Community High School District 128 for Monday, April 26th to order. If I could ask everyone to please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Jim Batson,
Here.
Don Carmichael,
Here.
Pat Grudy,
Here.
Lisa Hessel,
Here.
Kevin Huber,
Here.
Karen Lundstedt,
Here.
Casey Rooney.
Here.
Okay, so we have all board members present tonight. Our agenda, we are going to start off with a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education to authorize a permanent interfund transfer. We'll first ask for, we'll open the public hearing, then ask for any commentary. Then we'll have the rest of the regular board meeting. We'll open it up for public comment relating to the regular board meeting. Some board member recognition tonight, updates from our student school board reps, fairly lengthy superintendent's update. General topics that we've covered in the last couple of weeks with a couple new additions, last couple of months. We will approve the consent vote agenda that we reviewed 2 weeks ago, and then have updates from program and personnel, facilities and finance. Anything from ISB, Jim?
Just one brief thing.
Okay, and CEDAW?
Nope.
Nope, okay. And so then we'll adjourn this meeting. And then following this meeting, we will open up a special meeting for the new board to, first of all, we'll approve the canvas of votes and reorganize the new board. All right, so busy night. And we're going to rely very heavily on Carol to keep us organized.
Good plan.
Okay, it is a good plan. We know we're in good hands. All right, so let me first read this regarding tonight's public hearing. Due to the pandemic, we must limit the number of in-person members of the public to 10. Access has been provided to the public to contemporaneously hear all discussion, testimony, and roll call votes. First agenda item is a public hearing to receive public comments concerning the intent of the Board of Education of Community High School District 128 to authorize a permanent transfer of $7 million from the Education Fund to the Operations and Maintenance Fund. All persons desiring to be heard will have an opportunity to present written or oral testimony with respect thereto. So with that, I declare the public hearing open at 7:08 for discussion. The reason for the transfer is to provide money with which to meet necessary disbursements for operating and maintenance fund purposes. Are there any comments from the Board of Education?
Pat Grudy, President.
Any comments? Okay.
Pat Grudy, President.
Is there any written testimony or public comments concerning the transfer?
No.
No comments. Okay. All persons, is there any oral testimony or public comments? None. Okay. So all persons desiring to be heard have been given an opportunity to present oral or written testimony with respect to the transfer. Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
All right, motion carries, and the hearing is adjourned at 7:09 PM.
Pat Grudy, President.
Okay. All right, is there any public comment regarding any other items on the board agenda?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I have 2 letters.
Mary to Duvert Communications.
The first one is from Lindsay Scott. I just wanted to send a quick email to the school board, superintendent, and principals to thank them for their service this year. It has been a difficult and unprecedented year that required so much more of this particular school board and administrators than those that served before them. The number of meetings, length of those meetings, the work behind the scenes, the difficult and contentious decisions that had to be made were enormous in scope. And I know no one signed up for this level of work. And to have to do it all amidst a very divided community, several outspoken and critical parents, and the stress of their own pandemic-related difficult circumstances is commendable. While I may not agree with every decision or stance of each individual board member, and with certain things that could have gone differently, I do have a lot of appreciation for this time and hard work that were put into the issues this board had to tackle. So for this reason, I wanted to quickly write and express my gratitude. Thank you. And the second letter is from Christine and Mike Gaydon. Dear Dr. Lee, Dr. Colentus, and the school board, thank you all for your hard work this past year. You have made great strides in returning our students to in-person learning and returning to the high quality of education we have come to expect from D128 in the midst of an incredibly difficult circumstance. However, we would like to urge you to continue to strive to return our district to the high standards of education for which it is known. We do understand that the end of the year is approaching quickly, but the school year is far from over. Is it possible to have students return for 5 full days of learning? The current Wednesday schedule appears to be relatively a lost day of learning for our students. Based on our children's schedules and in speaking with other families, it appears there are few teachers using this day for synchronous learning. We keep hearing about learning loss. Why not use this day for active instruction at this point? We understand it is clear at this time we understand it is unclear at this time if remote learning will be required of the district as an offering for next year. If this will be required, we would urge you to please contemplate the possibility of having a separate staff teaching remotely, perhaps grouping LHS and VHHS students together for those classes, or possibly even working with other school districts or outsourcing for remote instruction. Another possibility might be looking into improved technological infrastructure for every classroom with camera systems that can follow teachers as they move around the classroom. We are fortunate that our children's teachers are engaging the students in the classroom as well as students who are remote. But we have heard from many other parents whose children's teachers are instructing specifically to the screen, creating a poor classroom engagement level. Although we understand teachers have been put in a very difficult position of teaching 2 groups of students at the same time and creating equal accessibility for both groups, lack of engagement is not a hallmark of the D128 quality of education. Lastly, we would ask you to please continue to reassess the possibility of continuing with a block schedule system, although obviously it would need to be refined from its current state. This schedule seems to allow teachers to address curriculum with increased depth, and it allows students to employ time management strategies to balance homework loads, along with participation in work, fine arts, athletics, and other clubs and activities. These strategies will serve them well into college and well beyond. Thank you for your consideration of these points. Thank you for your time, energy, and effort you have put in to serve the students, staff, and community. We are incredibly appreciative of all that you continue to do.
Pat Grudy, President.
That is all.
Okay, thanks. And thank you for those comments. Anybody in person who would like to speak?
Pat Grudy, President.
Okay,
Pat Grudy, President.
all right. Board member recognition, I guess.
Well, Dr. Grudy, that is Prentice on behalf of the rest of the board and district administrative team and the D128 family. So we want to take a few minutes tonight and try and do this right. And so in order to do that maybe more concisely or better, I've written some comments down about the board members in general, about our work together over the last, going back Pat's last 16 years. And then some individual comments about Kevin and Karen and Pat. But this is very important. And as our commenter said a few minutes ago, no board member signed up for what kind of went down in the time required this year. But the folks that have been on the board know that although this year was inordinate in terms of that burden, if it's a negotiation year, those are also typical things. So board member work takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, and it takes volunteers that are willing to do that. So great school boards matter, but school boards can only be great with great school board members. So individual school board members matter to the success of the board and thus the district. As I have said to our school boards as a factual true statement over the years, D128 could have only maximized the success of the district with excellent school boards to work with and maximize that success we have in large part due to the work of our school board and its members. Perhaps the hardest volunteer position any place. Great school board members work at their roles and work to create strong board teams. Not that boards agree all the time, but boards that listen, question, discuss, and then make decisions. Then once a decision is made, great boards support collective decisions and continue to move beyond that one decision. Tonight, the board loses 32 years of collective school board experience. And each one of the board members departing the board tonight has been a part of maximizing the success of the district during their time on the board. The contributions of our board members who leave their positions tonight can never be fully recognized and appreciated because those contributions have been so many, and in many cases so nuanced, that much of it was simply missed by the public along the way. However, as the superintendent of the district, I fully understood the importance of all of the work of the board members, whether large, small, or very nuanced. With that said, I'd like to take a few moments to recognize our outgoing school board members, Pat Grudy, Karen Lundstedt, and Kevin Huber. But before I do that, I want to recognize the result of some of the work of the school board over the past 16 years through this year. This is certainly not an inclusive list, but some of these are going to ring true, certainly to the people sitting in this room, and may jog the memories of people who are watching on screen. The district earned consistent multiple year national recognition as one of the very best school districts in the nation, with the best teachers in the nation and in the safest school district in the nation. The district applied for and was selected twice as a Chicago Tribune Top 100 workplace. The district earned multiple recognitions for financial accounting and practices. The district was selected multiple times by the College Board for the Advanced Placement Award, which was significant because of the award's recognition of school districts opening AP doors to non-traditional AP students and maintaining high 3, 4, and 5 pass rates. The district abated or did not collect $18.5 million and lowered the tax rate, both saving taxpayers millions of dollars. And I do want to point out here that $18.5 million tax abatement was the largest aggregate tax abatement in the history of the state of Illinois. The district reduced district office staff by 20%, saving taxpayers over $5 million over 10 years. The district collectively bargained for fair, responsible board teacher union contracts. The district conceived, planned, and completed $52 million plus of major capital work at LHS and VHHS at no additional cost to taxpayers, including at LHS, a new 50-meter pool, repurposing the old pool into a 2-level facility with a dance studio and wrestling room, and the addition of a much needed parking space and road reconfiguration around the pool. And at VHHS, virtually doubling the size of its very small cafeteria, the addition of 8 classrooms and a STEM lab, and the addition of a second gym with a dance studio on the second floor. The district adopted the new daring mission statement to initiate the next District 128 Renaissance. The district adopted numerous best practice, research-based curriculum, instruction, and assessment initiatives. The district placed a priority on and expanded student co- and extracurricular activities. And in this challenging pandemic year, board discussion and decision-making incorporated a variety of perspectives on school opening, timing of school opening, and options for school opening. Hard, gritty, and very difficult discussions and decision-making. But the board continued to work towards safe solutions to bring students back to school. And beyond those decisions, continue to work effectively together as a school board. And the district hired the next superintendent of District 128, Dr. Denise Herman, who is with us tonight.
Prentice Lee Superintendent.
So those are among a few things that the board has done over the past 16 years. And Karen, Pat, and Kevin have been involved in some or all of those over their terms of board service. So first tonight, Kevin, I'm trying to find you on the screen here. We want to recognize Kevin Huber. Kevin Huber, 4 years of board service. The District 128 family thanks Kevin for his board service. Kevin has served in leadership as chair of the Facilities and Finance Committee and on the board collective bargaining committee. In addition, Kevin has worked diligently behind the scenes with me on education legislation that would benefit students and taxpayers. Kevin brought a strong work ethic and great financial acumen to the board, which was very beneficial to the board, administration, and district taxpayers. He actively worked at learning more about education and its important needs and nuances, what we do, and how we do it. He effectively challenged the status quo and asked questions from perspectives that greatly assisted board consideration and decision-making on many critical issues. As a result, Kevin, you have made a real measured difference for students, staff, and district and taxpayers in District 128. And we thank you for your board service. And Kevin, although you could not attend tonight in person, we just want to show Kevin, we have a plaque for him, which we will make sure that he gets. And again, Kevin, we thank you very much for your service. So Kevin, would you like to say anything, or I'll also open it to comments from the board?
Kevin Huber School Board.
No, I just for the public, I did send the board a email this afternoon and shared my thoughts about how great the administration is, which led to great principals, which leads to great staff. And it's really been my pleasure to be a part of the team for the last 4 years. And I'm sure the success for the future, the board members, the 3 new ones sitting in the audience, you guys are going to be spectacular. And I'll be here to back up every single one of you. So good luck to the new board members, and thank you for letting me be part of D128 family for the last 4.
Thanks, Kevin. Any other comments? Yes, for sure.
Prentice Lee Superintendent.
Okay, next, Karen Lundstedt, 12 years of board service. The D128 family thanks Karen for her board service. Karen has served in leadership as the board vice president and secretary and was a long-serving member of the Program and Personnel Committee. In addition, Karen served as the board representative to the CEDAL Special Education Cooperative and as the board representative on the District 128 Foundation. In addition, Karen long served as the board, Karen worked hard at being a great board member, and that has always been reflected in her consideration, discussion, and decision-making on all issues, always balanced, always thoughtful, and always reflective. As a result, she enjoys the well-earned respect of her board colleagues, the administration and staff, and throughout our District 128 communities. Her concern for and work toward what is good for all students, and then ensuring that we do those things, has been important to our success. And Karen's ability to listen, carefully consider, then make a great decision is without peer. I can barely remember a time, Karen, when you were not on the board with us. And to our great benefit, your long tenure on the board has made a real measured difference over time for students, staff, and taxpayers in District 128. Thank you so much for your service.
Prentice Lee Superintendent. Prentice Lee Superintendent. Prentice Lee Superintendent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Karen. Nice.
Prentice Lee Superintendent.
We get to applaud.
Prentice Lee Superintendent. Karen Lundstedt, Secretary.
Or she'd like to say
I
something.
do have some things I'd like to say. So to all of you and many who aren't here, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve our communities in D128 these past 12 years. I need my glasses for this. This is a really special community, from the remarkable staff and teachers to the great students and families that support them, to our talented administrative team, Mary, Mark, Dan, Rita, Bryant, Kelly, Carol, Mick. Thank you all for all you do to make these two high schools run at an extraordinarily high level, year in and year out. Always looking for ways to help all the students flourish. To John and Tom and your teams, you are on the front lines, bringing the very best to our students each day. We are fortunate to have your outstanding leadership at VHHS and LHS. Thanks for all you do. And to my fellow board members, Lisa, Casey, Kevin, Jim, Don, and Pat, it's been a pleasure to serve alongside you. You each have unique gifts and have taught me many things over all these years. Thank you. And to Prentice, hard to imagine that you're going to be heading out in a couple of months, but I would personally want to thank you for your extraordinary and selfless leadership. It has been a privilege to work with you. I marvel at your ability to understand and communicate the complexities of running a school district, always keeping the well-being of the students at the core of what we do at 128. I wish you and the new board and the new superintendent all the best for many, many years to come. Thank you all.
Board members clapping. Board members clapping.
Any other comments? Okay, and Dr. Pat Grudy, 16 years of board service. The D128 family thanks Pat for his board service. Pat has served as a D128 board president, ex officio member of both the program and personnel and facilities and finance committees, and on the board collective bargaining team since he first arrived on the board. There have been many board elections since Pat was first elected to the board 16 years ago. Early in Pat's time on the board, his fellow board members began nominating, then unanimously electing Pat as the board president after each 2-year election cycle, regardless of board change. That tells you much of what you need to know about Pat's personal qualities and his unique, and we would say otherworldly, facilitation skills in leading the board. Pat's ability to listen and consider all sides, ask the right questions, then lead discussions, which ultimately allowed the board to find its right decisions, was very special. He never shied away from tough issues, nor tough stands when necessary. But at the heart of his leadership was always trying to do what was safe, beneficial, and right for students, staff, and taxpayers. Pat enjoyed nothing more than to talk with students and staff about what was going on, how they were doing, and what the board could do to help them be more successful. Pat was a consistent voice on behalf of district taxpayers during budget cycle, bidding, collective bargaining, and tax levies. He always encouraged engagement with the community individually or through an organized board mechanism, such as the many D128 Finance 101 community presentations and capital project presentations the district was involved in over the years. As board president and superintendent, Pat and I have spent thousands of hours talking about district business over the years, many times relatively simple and somewhat routine, sometimes really tough and very complex. And regardless, the situation never changed who Pat was, what he did, and how we worked together to plan forward or problem solving, which made him a great board president to work with to lead the district. Pat, as a result of all that and so much more, you made a real difference for the students and staff and taxpayers in District 128, and we thank you for your board service.
Thank you.
Board members clapping. Board members clapping. Board members clapping. Board members clapping. Board members clapping.
Well, I kind of had this put in perspective about 20 minutes ago when I was talking to our student reps and realized they were one when I started this. So, that's probably enough said. I never dreamed I would do this for this long. But I got to say, I've been fortunate enough, I think, to have done a lot of really interesting things in my life so far. But probably none that I really valued more than this, with the exception of raising my kids. And I was only here for 16 years because of really the people that make this place so special. And Karen, I think you did a great job of calling out people. Prentice, I couldn't have worked with a better leader than you. I mean, you made this job really easy. And I think we always had a good, healthy way of challenging each other when we needed to. I've worked with just some outstanding board members over all of these years. No team better than the one we had this last year, and I think we showed that. And I just can't say enough. I did walk the halls of Vernon Hills High School this afternoon, and I just couldn't help but continue to be amazed with what's going on there. I mean, my overwhelming feeling this afternoon was, you know what, we might have been remote for a few months, but we weren't closed. When you see what our teachers have done, and you really see the enthusiasm on the students' faces. And I look back over the last year and the creativity that everybody put into all the different things we did, especially in fine arts areas, for example, where I think we did things that even surprised those of us that were involved in it. And so there was no time more challenging than this last year. But there was never a doubt that we could do what we needed to do. And, I think we set a high bar, and I really think we beat it. And I don't say that lightly. I know there are some people that will disagree with us. But I think if you really look at the outstanding work that was done in this district, the last year in particular, but really over the last 16 years, it's been nothing short of amazing. I'm honored to have been part of it. I'm honored to have been working with just the most outstanding group of people that I've ever come across. And they taught me so much. I mean, I honestly have a completely different perspective for what it takes to really be a first-class high school. And I'm glad I've had that opportunity. I'll never forget it. I used to say it was kind of simple for me. I knew how well prepared my kids were when they went to college. And I was always grateful for that, as any parent would be. But, I now appreciate that what we do is even bigger than that. And I know I see it in our student school board reps, who I think this year also we set a high bar, and they've surpassed it. It's just been so inspiring to hear your point of view. And, we get these comments sometimes about young people and they're not strategic thinkers and all this kind of stuff. And I just wonder who those people are talking to, because they're not the ones I see when I come here all the time. So I'm incredibly inspired by this generation of people and what they will do for us. You too will face big challenges, but I know you're up for it. And I just want to say thanks for just this great opportunity. I will miss it, but I pick up about 25 Mondays, which isn't bad. So, but again, I want to say thanks to everybody that I've worked with. It's because of you that made this really not only a worthwhile and fulfilling experience, but one I've really enjoyed.
Board members clapping, board members clapping, board members clapping, board members giving standing ovation. Board members clapping, and giving standing ovation.
Okay, 16 years goes by quickly. I'm warning you. Okay, thank you for that. Now for the good stuff, student school board representatives. Dying to hear how the year is coming to a close here pretty quickly.
Pat Grudy, President. Pat Grudy, President.
Who's going to go first?
Technical difficulties with Zoom. Technical difficulties with Zoom. Technical difficulties with Zoom.
Everything good?
Student representatives.
To start off our report, we're going to be sharing our favorite parts about Switch Day. For those who might not know, this is when all 6 student reps shadowed each other at their respective schools for a full day of learning. I really enjoyed seeing the new wrestling room at Libertyville. I know there were a lot of awesome things going on there, but I was really captivated the view of Butler Lake. It was also a slightly overcast day, but one where it was still glowing through the clouds, and it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed that. And I know that everyone at that school is really excited about the construction and the additions that they have, just like we were excited at Vernon Hills. So sharing that was really nice. That's all. Yeah, that's from me. So who is going to be sharing next regarding Switch Day?
I can. So my favorite thing about Switch Day was meeting all the teachers at the school, and the sound room was really cool too. Dr. K showed us that. It was amazing. I just want to say that I think all the teachers are really what make up our school in D128. And knowing that all the teachers were so excited to meet us put a smile on my face.
My favorite part about Switch Day was when Dr. Chi led us through a tour of LHS. It was cool to see LHS in comparison to VHS, and the sound booth next to the studio theater was really nice. Now on to
Good. Okay. So Vernon Hills was a completely different atmosphere environment than Libertyville, but it was one that was just as amazing. 7 periods apes with Eva in the new STEM lab was absolutely phenomenal, along with global capstone with Mr. Friedrich. He's just a phenomenal teacher. And in general, the building itself is such a cool building, and you got a good school on your hands.
One thing I loved about Vernon Hills High School was just how studious all the students seemed. It was very like peaceful, especially when they walked in the morning and everyone's very focused in class. And you can tell how attentive they are and how much they listen to their teachers. And I also got to witness a little bit of the fine arts department because I was in Diego's AP music theory class. So I'm in band at LHS, so it's just interesting to see the differences. And yeah, overall, I loved the layout of Vernon Hills. It was a really good experience.
To continue on to our report, to start with academics, congratulations to 15 U.S. history students for advancing to the state competition for Illinois History Day. These students' projects were selected to advance from the regional competition and come from our American Studies, AP US History, and College Prep US History courses. This year, we had 11 of our students' projects advance. The brand new VHHS STEM labs are open for classes. I'm currently in Ms. Clark's AP Environmental Science class. The STEM lab is a great classroom. It's spacious and the furniture is easy to move, prompting more group work and discussions. In class, Ms. Clark has said that she can't wait to do more labs and have a fuller classroom so that she can properly utilize all the equipment and storage the room has to offer. The overall impression from the students is nearly the same. They feel as if they are entering a high-end science environment. Currently, athletic events are allowing spectators. In order to attend, tickets must be purchased via an online website, which can be found in an email sent from our athletic director, Mr. McDonald, or the VHHS Athletics webpage. After you purchase your ticket, there is a QR code that will be scanned upon entrance to the athletic event. This format helps with contact tracing. Thank you to the Board of Education for the newly constructed artificial turf for softball. Junior Mary Daniels says that the team loves the new turf. They're able to play when it rains and they don't have to walk through dirt or worry about chalk. The team is really grateful to have an awesome upgrade. This past Saturday was the senior prom. It was held at the Arboretum Club in Buffalo Grove. Groups of 50 students attended for 1-hour time slots between 6:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. There was a DJ, a magician, and photo booths in each corner. It was an interactive and exciting, and many seniors have said that they are grateful to have had a prom. Thank you to the Student Council Exec Board and advisors for making this happen. On Sunday, April 11th, the senior parent group held a senior scavenger hunt and senior sunset. At this event, seniors teamed up with their friends to follow a series of clues, asking them to travel around Vernon Hills and take pictures at various locations. Groups were judged based on creativity, and each student in the winning group received a pair of AirPods. Bowling was the senior sunset, where seniors entered a raffle to win various prizes, such as inflatable couches, JBL speakers, and brand new iPads. Congratulations to the 232 juniors who were selected as members of the National Honor Society. This marks the largest number of juniors ever being inducted during 1 year. The Future Medical Professionals Club hosted Dr. Grudy as a guest speaker. According to Dasha Lukanova, the director of fundraising, Dr. Grudy is the club's first anesthesiologist to come speak to them. She said it was refreshing to hear a new perspective coming from a medical professional who is a VHHS alumni. She gave a lot of insight into residency and how to prepare to enter this field. Overall, she gave a really engaging and thought-provoking presentation, and FMPA was grateful to have her. Now on to Kayla.
Now for an update on full in-person learning. The other day, I asked Mariana Danzini, a senior, and how she was liking full in-person school and how she felt about the workload. Mariana explained, "I just don't like how much work we are given and how it's too much," referring to being in class for hours, but then going home and having hours of homework to do. She feels we need more breaks for being in class so long. To Mariana, school seems longer in school full day versus being at home full day. Can also vouch for this, being us students being in class for almost 2 hours, and teachers forgetting about breaks can be really tough sometimes. On the contrary, my friend Jessica Chudy, a senior, explained that full in-person learning has led her to get better grades on tests by being in an environment with other students and becoming face-to-face with teachers. She also enjoys having more students in school. Math team. The VHHS math team earned a first place finish in its regional and third place finish in the state competition. Here are some individual and team score highlights. Algebra 1, Aguil's Sarthak, third in regional. Geometry, Brahms Jeffrey, first in regional, ninth in state. Bethany Bomer, third in regional. Algebra 2, Jackie Liu, first in regional, first in state. Josh Kalwinski, second in regional, eighth in state. Krish Asher, third in regional. Pre-calculus, Rahul Gupta, second in regional, 10th in state, Kristen Kai, and third in regional. The team events were freshman, sophomore, with an eight-person team, second in regional and fifth in state, junior and senior, 8-person team, second in regional, fourth in state, and the calculator team, first in regional, third in state. Congratulations to the science team for their 9th place finish at the state this year for the ACES Academic Challenge in Engineering and Science competition. The team was hard at work over the past month, and half the season was like none before. Congratulations also to individual senior Kristen Kai for her first place finish in physics, and junior Andrew Tukano for his 5th place finish in math, and junior Sikai Manikanda for her 5th place in computer science. Congratulations again to these hardworking students. The team is coached by Josh Ravencast and Sarah Sue. Third Class Act Awards. This month of April marks the first group of students to be recognized for living the daring mission in the halls and Zoom screens of Vernon Hills. Congratulations to Lean Abunaya, Alvaro Rojo, Bethany Bomer, Riley Brockway, Julia Ianova, Josh Kolowinski, Brendan Karka, Colette Kopstein, Emma Demas, Tyler Espina, Luis Gomez, Jeremiah Hernandez, Manuel Martinez, Revdi Marfield, Aniko Nadim, and Annie Sima. Each week this month, BH2O, Vernon Hills Environmental Club, has made announcements, quizzes, and infographics in order to spread awareness about plastic pollution, landfill/composting, and how to reduce one's carbon footprint. Students and staff can fill out a Google form asking questions relating to the theme of the week to win a custom BH2O sticker. Leading up to the end of the month, tomorrow, Tuesday, 27th at 4 p.m., BH2O will have a guest speaker, Lucy Biggers, a producer, editor, and creator of the series One Small Step, which focuses on how to be sustainable and how to help combat climate change. Students and staff can answer questions on how to help combat climate change. Students and staff can help ask questions that students have on climate change and what she does in her job. This is a zero waste trial is another event BH2O is implementing in the week of May 20th, where the environmental club members will conduct a zero waste lunch. The cafeteria, there will be 3 bins to put your lunch waste in, such as landfill, recycle, and compost. If this trial day goes well, in the next school year, Vernon Hills will implement this program into all lunches each day.
So some additional miscellaneous happenings include our football team having going 5-0, took the conference title. Inside linebacker, Ball State commit Jackson Weagold. By the way, happy birthday, Jackson, turns 18 today. Says, we all worked really hard in the offseason to stay in shape. Many guys putting on size and gaining speed. By the time we had camp in early March, we started off strong with getting everything together. The focus everyone brought week by week allowed for constant improvement and great team chemistry. We're confident if we played a regular season, we would have still seen great success. By the way, apart from Jackson, got to say really quickly, we're sending 4 guys total Division I this year. I'm super proud of them. Justin Morris also going to Ball State. Ryan Mann's off to NIU as a safety. Vito Asatura is going to Augustana as a defensive lineman. Huge congratulations to the program. That must feel really good. And speaking of congratulations to my favorite teacher, Jerry Maselli, who was honored as the Distinguished Service Awardee by the Illinois Director of Student Activities. They said that Jerry was nominated for the Distinguished Service Award for his lifetime contributions impacting the development of VHHS student activities. Jerry has touched the lives of countless students in a variety of roles over the course of his 21 years at Vernon Hills High School. Being a 30-year student of his, senior leader right now, I can wholeheartedly echo any and all praise given to him. Mr. Maselli is a good man and a big role model of mine and many other students over the years. He's very loved in our school and is going to leave the community as a legend when he retires at the end of this year. And that's it for us. Libertyville can take it from here.
Student representatives.
Okay, so this past Friday was the final Green Dot Action event of the year. Along with students wearing green on Friday, Green Dot's events correlated with Earth Day, as they partnered with Life of a Wildcat, Leaf, and Student Council in planting a tree near the LHS softball field. Not only is this great for the environment, but it's also a constant reminder of the Green Dot values that are enforced within LHS. Shout out Dr. Nelson, Junior Paige Black, and Senior CC Babbitt for their constant dedication and hard work to better our school and our Green Dot program. Also in honor of Earth Day, the freshman and sophomore Student Council drew chalk messages along the front entrance. Interact, Green Dot, and Student Council also did a Butler Lake cleanup today after school to complete Earth Week. The LHS Wildcat Warehouse is back in business. The Wildcat Warehouse is run by students in the vocational education class and the entrepreneurship class, and they sell some snacks and drinks. The Wildcat Warehouse was an important part of LHS pre-COVID, and it's exciting to see it back in action. This past month, teachers and staff dropped off senior yard signs at each senior's house. The hard work via all the teachers in putting this together and getting all of these signs out really means a lot to all seniors. Special thanks to Mrs. Ulix for keeping senior spirit alive since the beginning. An 8th grade webinar is being held this Thursday at 7 o'clock to show incoming freshmen how to get involved in LHS, whether that be in fine arts, sports, or any clubs/activities. The National Honor Society Committee has chosen its new members of NHS for the 2021 to 2022 school year. The NHS induction ceremony is on April 28th. Congratulations to all the newly inducted NHS members, and I look forward to the service you will all accomplish. The Student Council Executive Board has been working hard these past couple of months to finalize all passport to prom details. Prom tickets for priority boarding went on sale a couple of weeks ago, and these groups of students were able to sign up for their first flight time and flight number this past week. The web store has reopened for students this past week who may not have been able to purchase tickets the first time around. As of now, over 450 juniors and seniors have signed up for prom this year. Prom will include photo ops, music, black lights, games, and even roller skating and other fun surprises. The May 1st deadline where all seniors must submit their college decision is approaching quickly. After making this important decision, all LHS seniors must complete the graduation survey and senior exit survey on Naviance in order to participate in any senior decision day activities. To celebrate seniors committing, the LHS CRC will be hosting 2 in-person senior decision day celebrations split by last name on May 6th and May 7th. Seniors will be able to put their pen on the CRC map, receive their senior gift, take some photos, and celebrate with our amazing college counselors and classmates. More info to come at tomorrow's senior webinar. Seniors are also being asked to fill out the Life After Elvo survey, in which they submit a picture of themselves in their college gear and their post-secondary plans. After submitting, these seniors are highlighted on the LHS CRC Instagram page. Seniors Mallory Carney and Rowan Hornsey have been working hard to make sure all seniors are posted on the Instagram. Finally, Senior ABC Countdown has been going on. It began early this year as Wednesdays are not included in the countdown. Some of my personal favorites were Halloween, Ice It Out Day, and tomorrow's Jersey Day. Looking forward to continuing these traditions with my senior class.
For some quick updates on fine arts, all 4 bands plus our jazz bands and combos at LHS recorded their winter concert pieces in March, and these were posted online on YouTube. And this recording took a lot of work throughout the second semester on both the directors and students, and congratulations to all these musicians for putting in the work to make this happen. The band directors are excited to announce that they're planning our first in-person concert in over a year in the track and field area on May 18th. The concert will be live streamed and the audience will need to pre-register, and many band students are looking forward to performing for the first time in such a long time, and they're working hard on their spring concert cycle arrangements. The Illinois High School Art Exhibition recently took place, and several Libertyville High School artists received awards for their artwork. Congratulations to Demetrios Mitsopoulos for receiving the Social Justice Award, Paige Vang for getting honorable mention for sculpture, Emma Lash for receiving Gold Key in Design, Will Herbeck for honorable mention in drawing, Avery Vang for the Visionary Award, Emma Lash for receiving Judge's Choice in the Illustration Throwdown Challenge, and Demetrios Mitsopoulos for the Viewer's Choice Award in the Design and Street Art Challenge. Paige and Avery Vang were the top 2 scholarship award winners in the entire show, and they each received more than $400,000 in scholarship offers. Congratulations to all these students for their exceptional work. The Marching Wildcat season has come to a close, and congratulations to our Marching Wildcat students who participated and provided school spirit even during this uncertain year. You're greatly appreciated, and go Wildcats. For sports updates, sports such as boys soccer, boys football, girls volleyball, and a few others have come to a close. We are now opening up the last season of high school sports to the year. The baseball, softball, and lacrosse teams have all played their first few games and are off to a great start. For the final home varsity football game, seniors were given the opportunity to enter their names into a lottery to be chosen to bring one friend and attend the home game in the LHS Stadium. The theme was Orange Out, and thank you to Dr. K and Mr. Woods for allowing this to happen one last time. And our LHS varsity football team beat Stevenson for the first time in 5 years. So way to go, LHS football. And that concludes the LHS and the HHS board reports. And we'd like to thank the board for letting us come in tonight and present our report. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, awesome job, you guys. And I just want to make a couple real quick comments. I don't think anybody could have blamed you guys this year if you kind of had a woe is me attitude because of all the traditional things that you weren't able to do. And I know in spite of all of our efforts, there were some things, even academically, we weren't able to do that we would normally do. But I think you guys have just shown incredible resilience. And again, I've just found that so inspiring. For all those shortcomings that we probably experienced, I think you guys have learned some other lessons that are just going to be with you forever because the curveballs you got this year were as big as I can imagine for the foreseeable future. And you guys handled them with grace, dignity, and just all the right things. So you and your classmates deserve an awful lot of credit. And in fact, this week, we had a meeting with Dr. Scott Marcotte, which we'll talk about in a minute here. But it was interesting because one of the things he remarked about was just how respectful our students have been through the whole testing program. And, anytime somebody from the community says, hey, your guys were just really great and they've done everything we asked them and they've been very respectful, that says a lot. And I'll give credit where credit is due. It says a lot about your parents and your families because I know that's where it starts. But it also says that, it's one of the things I think we build on here as we really do try to educate the whole individual. And so I'm just grateful for all the wonderful things that you guys continue to show us. And it just, like I said, it continues to inspire all of us. So keep up the great work once you leave here. High expectations. Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
All right. Next, superintendent's report.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Grudy, and I echo all of Dr. Grudy's comments about our outstanding student board representatives and our equally great students at both campuses. So thank you for all of that. Okay, LHS senior Desi Shangmugathan Nanar has been selected as a winner of the National Merit $2,500 scholarship from National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Congratulations, Desi. The D128 math teams qualified for and competed in this year's state math competition. Both schools placed highly. VHHS finished third and LHS finished fourth. The LHS decathlon team finished fifth in state competition, held online March 13th. In addition to the team's honor, John Power won the bronze medal in music. Katie Stone won bronze in both speech and essay. VHHS senior Magdalena Zusek was selected as a prize winner for the 2021 AATG CLV Next Best Thing to Being There scholarship from the 2021 National German Exam. Magda was chosen to represent VHHS in the Regional German National Exam competition based on her exam results. After competing in a German interview panel, she was selected by Northern Illinois to compete for the national scholarship, which she won, and is among the top German high school students in the United States. Over 8,000 German students from all over the country competed. She won a $750 award to be applied to enrollment in a 4-week German immersion program, either in person or virtual, or a full scholarship for any 1-week Walled Sea Virtual Village program. Pretty amazing. Congratulations. 3 LHS students received Silver Key Awards at the national level in the 2021 Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. Will Herbeck, silver medal in the drawing category. Avery Vang, silver medal in the sculpture category. Paige Vang, silver medal in the portfolio category. And these student artists have been identified by panels of creative professionals as among the most talented young artists and writers in the nation. This year, nearly 400,000 works of art and writing were submitted. Less than 1% were recognized at the national level. They have been invited to attend a ceremony at world famous Carnegie Hall in New York City in June. So any volunteers on the board that want to do chaperone duty, let me know and I'll pass that on. So that's a good news for this evening. Incredible. And I just want to make this comment again. We're all kind of commenting as the year is really started to open up. Again, it's just amazing to pull in the parking lot tonight and there's no place to park because there are so many things going on with students. That's just awesome given where we were at in August and September and October. So just incredible, what a year is, the steps we've all been able to take forward. Okay, we want to do a little additional special recognition tonight. And I think we have a few special guests with us this evening. Wednesday, May 12th is National School Nurse Day. This special day was established in 1972 to honor the more than 95,000 school nurses in the United States who make a difference in the lives of children every day. The theme of this year's School Nurse Day is School Nurses, Championing the Whole. School nurses lead the way in ensuring that students are healthy, safe, and ready to learn. To say that our D128 school nurses have done that and more during this pandemic year would be an understatement. They have helped guide the schools with the ever-changing guidance from CDC, IDPH, ISBE, and the Lake County Health Department. And their knowledge has been instrumental in opening our schools safely for our students and staff. They have tirelessly done their jobs and more in helping our students, families, and staff with the many questions and concerns during this past school year. While we don't typically celebrate these types of recognition days at our board meetings, we felt that it was important to make an exception this year, given the circumstances of the pandemic and the significant role our nurses have played in ensuring the health and safety of our students. With that said, we'd like to extend a huge thank you to Cam Trout and Alyssa Wasserman at LHS, and Kajal Patel Thakur and Diane Dantes at VHHS, who have joined us via Zoom tonight. Your leadership, professionalism, and accessibility at all times, but especially this year, have helped put some certainty and comfort into a year filled with much uncertainty. So we want to take this opportunity to give our nurses a round of applause. So thank you very much.
Board members clapping. Board members clapping. Board members clapping.
Any other comments? Okay, thanks again. And thanks for joining us tonight to our nurses. Okay, next up, we have an important and very exciting announcement to make tonight. We are very excited to announce tonight at the District 128 Board of Education meeting, pending a coming vote, that let me start over again. Pending a vote that District 128 will be working with our COVID-19 testing partner, Passport Health, to provide voluntary Pfizer first and second dose vaccinations for our students 16 years and older at the time of vaccination. Vaccinations will take place on campus at both LHS and VHHS. The dates for first dose vaccinations will be May 11th and 12th, and for second dose vaccinations, June 1 and 2. The vaccine is free to all District 128 students meeting the age requirements at time of vaccination, and there is no cost to the district to administer the vaccine. As with all COVID-19 vaccine programs, parents and students with insurance will be asked to submit insurance information to offset vaccine administration costs. The LHS VHHS vaccination programs will be subject to vaccine availability from CDC, IDPH, the LCHD distribution pipeline. You will receive more specific information from LHS or VHHS via email regarding the vaccination process, registering, and scheduling on Tuesday, April 27th, tomorrow, at approximately 10 a.m. Please look for that message, and if you are interested in having your child vaccinated, follow the provided instructions. Our sincere appreciation and thanks to the District 128 Board for its support of this important initiative, and to Passport Health for its continuing partnership with District 128, and for its work with the Lake County Health Department to make this initiative a reality. In addition, thanks to the District 128 testing and vaccination planning team for its stellar work to plan, facilitate, and coordinate our vaccination effort. And with that said, on behalf of the district administration, we'd like to recommend that the board approve our working partnership agreement with Passport Health, which will allow me to sign the agreement and for us to move forward. Again, there's no cost to this district, so this is not a standard contract with a cost to it. It's simply a partnership agreement that will allow us to move forward with our advanced planning on this. And so with that, Pat, I recommend approval of that motion.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the working agreement with Passport Health?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? I'll just add one tidbit of information. I did have a conversation recently with the real Dr. Grudy. And as you know, Michigan cases have spiked up significantly over the last month. And interestingly, what she told me is among those being hospitalized, less than 0.03%. So that's 3 in 10,000 cases were from vaccinated people. So if you need proof of evidence that the vaccines are working, that's one solid piece of evidence really saying that they've made a tremendous impact.
I have a minor question. First of all, outstanding work. Thank you. Do you know, and if you don't, it's fine, if we receive emergency use authorization, which is currently being considered for 12 to 15-year-olds, will there be the possibility of expanding availability to all of our students?
The answer is yes. So,
Yes.
so Scott is all over that.
I think that's yes. And Lisa, in the next week or two, I talked to a couple of our team members today. We'll pull together a meeting with the superintendents of our feeder districts and have some conversation about how we might make that work, particularly if it's right after school's out. I'd being able to use one or both of the high schools as a base. I think what we would ask for in return from the elementary districts would be, just sharing some volunteers to make that happen, since we'll be on summer hours, which I'm sure they would be happy to do. We have a great working relationship with Matt Barbini at 70 and Pete Hannigan, and then Allison up at Oak Grove, and then Jenny at Roundout. So we've done a number of things together over the year, but we would certainly be the obvious center point if we were going to do a pod in response to your question. And let's hope that's the case. Let's hope shortly after, or perhaps even before we get started, that 12-year-olds are in the offing down the line, which would help middle school students in particular, and would cover virtually all of our students who wanted to be vaccinated. Again, a voluntary program, not requiring. So someone's not out in the community and doesn't say, we're requiring people to be vaccinated. It's a voluntary program. We would strongly encourage people consider that. Based on evidence like Pat is citing tonight, that is very important. So that's a great question.
Yeah, good question. And to be clear, this is an option. If someone would rather go to Lake County Fairgrounds or Walgreens, by all means, go there. We're just trying to provide a convenient option if somebody wants to get their student vaccinated.
Exciting. So thank you for the support for all of us to continue those conversations. And the board knows this, but so the community knows. Our link to be able to make this happen goes right back to Passport Health. It has a unique partnership with Lake County Health Department. But so because we have that testing relationship, we have the ability to do the vaccines when that became a possibility. So it's all good. Appreciate, Pat's many efforts working with us on testing earlier, because that led to where we're at now. So it's all good. So thank you for the vote and your support. And very shortly, Mary will be hitting send, and essentially the message I read tonight will be going out to parents, and then the two buildings will be following up about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we can get rolling. So
I think we need to vote.
All right, any further discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat. We still need to vote.
I got it.
Well,
Any
ahead of
further
myself.
discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye. Okay, you can push the button
All right,
now.
motion carries.
Okay, now, thank you. We appreciate your support.
Prentice Lee Superintendent.
Okay, so next on the superintendent's report, Pat, I know you are just so going to miss this at, the upcoming meetings. But would you like to give us one more overview on metrics of where we stand in the area or in our communities now?
So just very quickly, on the Northwestern dashboard today, these numbers are quite staggering, actually. The positivity rate in Libertyville is just under 1%. So 0.9%, that's the lowest we've seen since I've been reporting this. Vernon Hills is at 1.29%. And even better than that, the case rate in Libertyville is 54 cases per 100,000 population, and Vernon Hills, I believe, is 56 cases. So again, those are the lowest numbers we've seen in a long time. So I think it reflects two things. One, the behavior in the community. You can't achieve those numbers without being respectful of the mitigations. And number two, I think we're really starting to see the effectiveness of the vaccines kick in. So that's great news, which I think certainly supports our planned full regular opening in the fall. And I honestly hope for all of you seniors who have bigger and better things planned for next year, that it points to a full and regular opening wherever you plan to plant your flag next. So the things are really moving in a great direction. So concludes my reports on metrics.
Okay, that's good. Pat, so I guess the question would be, if we need to call you out of the bullpen at some point and get your assistance, would you
Feel
be
free, I'll
willing?
give you the website.
You can find them in Michigan.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, next on the superintendent's report, as we continue quickly down the COVID-19 related. We heard the students talk a little bit about being back in full day and the options. So just thought I'd also ask Tom and John if they had any other reflections since we've been back on full day or on hybrid half day, or the remote learning, or the combination of the three. So Tom, you want to go first tonight?
Tom Coolentest, principal.
Things are going very well at Libertyville. Do I need to unmute? Oh, you're good. I'm good. Oh, you're good. All right. Things are going very well at Libertyville High School. Tremendous positive energy all around from our students and our staff. I would like to just absolutely second everything that was said about our extraordinary school nurses. The one downside of bringing so many students back and having a lot of students in school together is that we still have to follow quarantining rules. And so throughout the last several weeks, we have had students needing to quarantine, and our school nurses work very, very hard to investigate and track down all of those cases to make sure that families get the information they need, and that we're only quarantining the students that absolutely have to quarantine. It is, I think, a good problem to have, because it shows that lots of our students are back, and that we are all, working and learning together in the building. The lunches are going very well, so we're very grateful to Chartwell's and to their staff for how quickly and efficiently they're able to get our students meals, and how safe our cafeteria service has been for our students. And I think the favorite thing at LHS in our new full day model is recess. We had to build recess as part of our lunch rotations, and students and staff love kind of reliving their elementary school days, going outside for recess, and engaging in some fresh air and some exercise outside has been sort of a very fun and enjoyable activity every day. So all in all, things are great at LHS.
Dr. Gilliam.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Vernon Hills is doing well too. I think our student board reps did a nice job of highlighting some of the exciting events that have been happening. And I think that's just an indicator that life here at Vernon Hills feels like it's getting back to normal. We certainly have more students in the hallway. We're averaging somewhere between 35 and 40% of our kids being back full days. So we certainly have more kids, but no space problems. And although that's a small percentage in comparison to our friends up north, it is double where we were at in February. So we are feeling like there's substantially more energy in our hallways and our classrooms. I am so grateful for the hard work that our teachers and our staff continue to do with more than half of their kids still remote, but they're doing great things. As Dr. Grudy said earlier, they have been and continue to do great things on behalf of our students. And of course, as principal, I wish more of our kids were back in the building, but I promise that I'll be patient as we get through the rest of this year and then welcome everybody back to start next year. We are excited about our upcoming school events. I'll say we have Honors Day, our senior parade, our graduation, and we'll look forward to highlighting some of those moments the next time we meet at the end of April. And I do also want to thank our nurses. Tom did a nice job of just capturing the work that they do. So thank you to our nurses. And I especially want to thank Pat, Karen, and Kevin for their work as board members and how they have supported Vernon Hills High School. And I know I speak for Tom as well. But thank you to the three of you for your selfless, caring work over the years. Thanks.
Prentice Lee, Superintendent.
Okay, so more information about end of year activities, but some of the traditional things, proms, altered proms, graduations are going to go on. John hit on some of those things. We've talked about those before. So we'll have more information, on our May cycle of meetings. Is that fair to say, guys?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And, LHS, Amal referenced, we have a big senior webinar tomorrow night where we'll go over all the final details for prom and graduation rehearsal and all of the amazing and fun end of the school year traditions for our seniors.
Prentice Lee, Superintendent.
Okay, thanks. So we'll skip down to Buy Next Now testing, and we are still doing our testing at both of the buildings. And as you know, once you receive your 2 vaccines, then after a short period of time, you can opt out of testing. You can continue to test if you want to, but we're still requiring testing for students in athletics and in larger regular meeting after school activities. That continues to yield results in terms of we are finding several students every week who are possibly asymptomatic or they are actually positive, and through our testing. And as a result of that, we're able to work with that student and parents at Lake County Health Department to prevent further infections. So our testing has been very successful from that end. I think some teachers, because of their vaccination, have probably chosen to stop testing. Me, for example, I've been vaccinated, but I still do my test every Friday, just to be sure that I'm not carrying and possibly giving it to somebody else. So we'll leave that open until the end of the year. In May, when the new board is seated, we'll have some more conversation about any possibilities or recommendations for testing beyond the end of this school year. We're going to close testing out for this school year on May 28th, I think is the date. Brian, if I'm correct, I think it's May 28th. We're going to close out because that last week of school, there are varied things, and then we can talk about anything we want to do or possibly do or not do going into the summer.
Yeah, except for athletics, actually.
Yeah, except for athletics. Brian, anything you want to add?
No, so just, at the end of the school year and with students and the schedule. So students, their testing will end, but then athletics will still go on. I know athletic directors will work with their coaches because of the season of the IHSA this year extends a little bit longer into June. So normally, the IHSA season is done towards the end of May, but there is still quite a bit of the season going on. So we're still going to extend that testing. And it'll just be formatted a little bit different since they won't be in class some of those days. So,
Pat Grudy, President.
And I'll say every student that has to be quarantined is unfortunate, but I know relative to some surrounding districts, we're doing a lot better. I mean, I think there were some in the western suburbs that were just really having a lot of difficulty with the number of people they had to quarantine.
There's no doubt it's helped. And Pat, as you pointed out before, the more testing we do here, it also helps the broader community from spreading infections. So, okay, thanks for the updates. Very helpful. Dan, anything to add on COVID-19 expenditure tracking at this point?
Daniel Stanley, Business.
No, we've got the report that we had from our committee meeting a couple weeks ago. So we just continue to get testing invoices every week. So that'll continue to grow. So we're well past $1 million on COVID, and we'll continue to incur those costs for the rest of the year.
And Dan, we've talked about this maybe a little bit at committee meeting. So any chance that some of the CARES money will come back through and offset some of that cost?
We are using, so the translation in our state, we're calling it's ESSER money. ESSER two, we're utilizing for offset some of the testing. That's about 200,000. And then ESSER three, we're still waiting for guidance and all that information. We probably won't get ESSER three money until next year. So it's possible to use some of those funds to offset this cost. So we have to wait to get further guidance from ISB, but we know 200,000 for sure is covered from ESSER two. So ESSER three, we'll see what can be used for.
When you say next year, do you mean next fiscal year or 2022?
Next fiscal year is fiscal year 22. So it's likely that based on the timing of when the December, which was ESSER two, was approved and then trickled down to the states, the application process, I'm anticipating we likely won't have an application process till probably May or June, and then we wouldn't even be able to get the money. Even if you applied immediately, you wouldn't get the funding until probably July. So I'm not anticipating any ESSER three funding for fiscal year 21 this year. I'm expecting it for next fiscal year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so next on the COVID-related agenda is 20,021, 20,022. Just want to reiterate again what we've been saying since January, which we've communicated in writing last week, and that is our plan is to start school regularly next year. Okay, so all of the pieces are lining up to be able to do that. We simply want to continue to reinforce that message so people hear us say that, and they not only believe it, but they realize that that's the direction we're headed. So capital projects, Dan, Mark, any other updates right now on capital projects beyond the Fieldhouse project, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit?
Yeah, just on the Vernon Hills, as the project is winding down and we're kind of winding on our contracts and they're doing punch list stuff, we received a number of change orders that we were kind of told were coming, so we knew about these. And you can see on our report that the change orders that we received has tipped over 850,000, which Gilbane has been telling us for a few months it's been tipped over. We now have all of those documents there. There probably are more change orders coming, but the ones that I know of right now, we've not signed all of them yet because the architect has to review them before we sign off on them. So that's kind of remaining to be seen. So we've kind of watched that every single month. The other thing is, overall, we talked about this a few months ago that I just want to keep in front of your head is that we need an additional about 200,000 or so for furniture and fixtures and equipment. So like our particular AV technology and other furniture and stuff, we needed classroom furniture and everything. That ended up a little bit bigger than I thought it was at the start of this project. So to the tune of about probably 200,000. But I'll update you on that. We haven't kind of spent all of that yet, but as we kind of get closer, wind down contracts, reconcile each trade and each contract we have, we'll get there for closeout. It'll still probably be a while before we financially close out. Probably will be well into the summer before we actually get there and to be done paying for this project. But we won't be done paying until we make sure we've got everything that we paid for.
That's the 200K is over and above the
Mhm.
191 under owner, correct?
So the 200, so that list you
Nowhere
have
in
there
that.
is change orders
Okay.
and kind of what we've categorized the value of those change orders. So of the 855,000, we're estimating about 191 of those have been owner changes.
Right.
What I'm talking about in the equipment side is totally separate. That's an owner cost, not a reason for change orders. Change orders happen up in the trades.
Budgeted
Owner cost
differently.
is below the trade in the line. So that's stuff we just buy ourselves directly. Like we don't go through Gilbane to buy whatever the technology in the rooms, like the projectors and I don't know what
Right.
else, smart boards, that kind of stuff. Sorry. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about that cost a bit more. The sound systems in the different spaces are, especially in some of those bigger spaces, are pretty pricey to have quality sound systems there. So, yeah.
And just as a review for anyone who might be listening, when we do change orders, I mean, certainly unforeseen, anytime you open a wall or dig into the ground, there's things that come up that, you have to address. Design and owner changes. Can you just kind of give a brief description for maybe our newer members? Of what those
Really the
might be?
three major reasons you have changes in a project is unforeseen conditions. I had it, my previous district, we were supposed to do a classroom addition, dug into the ground and found a bunch of concrete stairs buried in the dirt. That wasn't on any drawing that anybody had, but some contract project years ago, instead of hauling it away like you should have, somebody just buried it in the dirt.
Right.
So you have to clear that out, make sure you have suitable soil and all that stuff. So that's unforeseen. You just don't know what's behind the wall until you open it up, even though you might have drawings that say what's supposed to be behind that wall. The second one is design. No design team is perfect. There's accidents, there's conflicts between all these little various different things. And also how it draws when it actually gets presented in real life sometimes doesn't totally add up as it theoretically should on paper. So you have those issues. Also, this project was designed very, very quickly. We had a very short time window for designing, so we knew that there was going to be design issues more uniquely here than there was, for instance, at the LHS pool. There's a much longer design process for that. And then owner costs are things that come up that we, maybe as we see them in real life, through Mark or other means may say, you know what, we would like to make this improvement. You know what, I know we did talk about doing it this way 2 years ago, but now that we've lived it in another space, we actually want to move that sink over here. And so like, okay, well, now you got to redo the piping, for example, just a small example. So those are the things that we have told Gilbane and STR, we want that. So a biggest example we had is at the LHS pool, that the three meter dive board. When we walked around and toured and saw that, we said, hey, we want the 3 meter dive board. Well, it wasn't our project. Well, we want it. Like, okay, that's an owner change.
Right.
Does that help?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, the key point is we plan for these contingencies in the projects that I've been involved in since I've been on the board. You've done an amazing job of, understanding where some of those challenges might be and planning for them financially. So
Yeah, Gilbane
just
has really done a good job.
kudos on that.
Yeah, Gilbane has done a really good job, and Mark as well, over the past, for sure, year and a half, when we were starting to have more significant change order issues, really managing those very, very closely. So Phil particularly at Gilbane has done a really great job of helping manage that.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dan, anything else there? Okay, great. Okay, next on the superintendent's agenda, we are recommending the approval of the 2021-2022 Illinois High School Association membership school renewals for both LHS and VHHS. Need a motion.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please. Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye. Motion carries. Next.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, 2021-2022 Ombudsman Program Agreement Renewal. Bryant talked about this at committee meetings. We are recommending approval of our agreement.
A motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hessel.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, final thing on the superintendent's report tonight. Believe it or not, by the way. Don't laugh, Lisa. Casey, I think you laughed first there tonight, so.
You can't tell, I have a mask on. You can't
Okay.
see anything.
Commercial FOIA request received, 3/5/21. Response deadline was 4/5/21. Requester Zoe Yalson from Smart Procure. Information requested, Smart Procure is submitting a commercial FOIA request to the Libertyville Vernon Hills Community High School District number 128 for any and all purchasing records from 12/4/2020 to current. The request is limited to readily available records without physically copying, scanning, or printing paper documents. Any editable electronic document is acceptable. Rose DeSico in Dan's office did the follow-up, and it was fulfilled and sent on 4/5/21. Second request was a commercial FOIA request received 4/12/21. Response deadline 5/11/21. Requester Preston Deddy, ChicagolandConstruction.com. Information requested, bid results, tabulations, or rewards for the 4/6/2021 Community High School District number 128, Libertyville High School Fieldhouse renovation project bid release 1, Lake County. Follow-up was done by Dan Stanley. No responsive records. The bid opening was delayed. The response was sent on 4/13/21. And the third and final request this month was received on 4/19/21. Response deadline 4/26/21. The requester was Michelle Youngerman from CBS. Information requested. I'm requesting in Excel for each school year from 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021. Total number of students with NED separated out by students grade year. Total number of students with NEF separated out by students grade year. And grand total of D grades among all students separated by students grade year. Grand total of F grades among all students separated by students grade year. Follow-up was done by Brian Kelly. The request was fulfilled, and the response was sent on 4/23/21. Dr. Grudy, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so the consent vote agenda is listed in detail. We covered this in more detail 2 weeks ago. So if I could ask for a motion to approve the consent vote agenda as listed.
I move to approve the consent vote agenda as listed.
Second.
All right, any discussion? No, roll call, please.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Rudy,
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Program and Personnel Committee, Chairperson Batson.
Thank you, Dr. Grudy. We have a few items here. First up is the School Resource Officer Agreement with the Village of Libertyville. We discussed this in committee earlier in the month, a couple weeks ago. So if we could have a motion.
I motion to approve the school resource officer agreement with the Village of Libertyville.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any further comments or questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Rudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. The second one is another school resource officer agreement, this time with the Village of Vernon Hills. Can I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the school resource officer agreement with the Village of Vernon Hills.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye. Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, last up is a list of employment of employees. As listed here, these were completed after the committee meeting, so they were not included on the consent agenda. So we need a motion to approve these.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments?
Do we have to allow Mark to retire?
Don't, but I think
You
we'd
can
be in
reject that,
trouble.
Don. You can reject
You can
it.
vote no, right?
You can vote no.
You can vote no. Okay, we'll see how this goes. We have a roll call,
7
please.
years out, so.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Rudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
We can always try to get him to change his
Yeah,
mind later.
Don't worry,
so
Mark, it
we'll-
goes by fast.
Yeah. Okay, so that completes, anything other for PNP?
Before we move on, do we want our students, if they want to,
Yeah, I mean,
usually we release them by now, but if they want to stay.
You're welcome to stay or welcome to leave.
Up
the
to you.
exciting part's coming up. Oh, you're welcome
Thanks, everybody.
to exit.
Being here.
Thanks for coming out.
Great job.
It's okay,
Thank you,
really.
guys.
Okay, so that concludes the program and personnel. Back to you, Dr. Grudy.
Okay, next, Facilities and Finance, Chairperson Huber.
All right, first on the agenda, we have the resolution providing for the issue of taxable obligation bonds. Dan, you want to briefly talk about what this is before we vote it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys went through PNP really fast. I'm trying to scroll
Well done,
down,
sir.
find my spot.
Daniel Stanley Business. Daniel Stanley Business. Daniel Stanley Business.
That's a long resolution, isn't it?
It's really long.
Daniel Stanley Business.
Okay, yes, we have, and also Liz Hennessy from Raymond James should be joining us at some point. We had the bid that they went through when we had the bid results. We received 5 bids from different banks and even some school district joined in on there. The best rate that we received was 0.29%, which also is known as 29 basis points from Wintrust. That happens to be the bank that we do our daily banking with. So they bid on that, which gives our total issuance costs of 4.621 million. So the bonds that we're issuing are 4.62 million. And so the interest there is about $1,200 based on that. So that's fantastic. The bonds will be issued for about 35 days. Yeah, so we're excited, looking forward to that. So we're really kind of at the resolution of this process that we've been talking about. Just a reminder for everybody, kind of big picture, what we're talking about. School districts have money in different funds. So we kind of talk about it together when we're talking about our revenues, expenditures, but legally and technically, they're in different funds. We have Ed Fund, which is our largest. We have O&M fund for like the lights and for buildings and grounds, those kind of things. We have a transportation fund that handles just transportation. We have a fund for Social Security and Medicare and IMRF, which is municipal retirement. We have a fund for capital projects that we're paying for, these big projects out of. We have a working cash fund, and then we also have a debt service fund. That is a fund that is designed solely to handle the money coming in and the money going out for paying for debt. Most districts have outstanding debt that they pay. So they borrowed money at some point for usually a capital project. And then just like when you borrow money for a mortgage, you have to pay it back. So they might pay those bonds, they issue bonds. Essentially, that's kind of another word for that mortgage. And they have to pay that back either twice a year, you might have quarterly, it might be once a year, depending on how you structure that bond. That could be for 20 years or whatever. And so the money that comes in from property taxes, it goes in there, and then you cut the check to the bond people to pay those off. And then they send those off to all of the owners of that. So we have no debt. We have had no debt for a few years now. But in our debt service fund, there is a balance of about $4.6 million. That balance has built up over decades with interest income. As the money sits there, it earns interest. It just kind of stays there. Since I've gotten here, we transfer all the interest that we earn every year out of there. But all the stuff that was there really before I was here is stuck there. And also, when there is a levy for debt, there's a loss in cost added on top. So the reality is, you have a certain mortgage payment you have to make, a bond payment you have to make, and you collect taxes for it. Well, they're smarter people than me have figured out, well, almost everybody pays their taxes, but not everybody pays their taxes. And it would be really, really, really bad for a district to default on their bonds or to default on their mortgage, for example. Be really bad. So they've added a 1% loss in cost. So essentially, if everybody paid their taxes, you'd collect 101% of what you levy. So that loss in cost built up over years, decades, has accumulated to about $4.6 million. We have been planning all along to use that funds. You can only use that funds to pay off debt. And so we wanted to use that cash because you can't really use it for any other purpose to pay for this project, because really those funds would have been generated from interest or loss in cost from other capital projects, particularly probably the building of this building 20 some years ago. Capital projects is a good sense for that. So we wanted to use it for either these projects that are going on or for the field house. So, but it's not that simple. You can't just transfer the money. Like, and you have a bank account, you can't just transfer it from one bank account to another. they're separate legal entities, and there's very specific rules on how to move money from one fund to another. And really, the only way to get money out of the debt service fund is you have to use the money in there to pay debt. Other funds, like the ed fund and to O&M transfer we had a hearing on early, the way you move money there is you have a public hearing, and then you approve a resolution, and you can transfer the money. If the money's in our working cash fund, and you want to get it into any other fund, you literally just
Daniel Stanley Business.
Move it.
you approve a resolution at a meeting, and then you move it. No hearing, so there's different rules. So the way that we found that we can get this money out of here is you have to issue a debt,
Create the debt.
issue the debt, the money will go into our working cash fund, which is Fund 70, and then issue that, and then 35 days later, we're going to pay that debt off. We're going to pay that from the balance in the debt service fund. So at the end of this, at the end of May or end of June, when we're done paying this back, the balance in debt service fund will be almost nothing, because you can't get every dollar to match up exactly, almost nothing. And then that money will be in the working cash fund. And then we're going to abate the working cash fund, which is just another word for a permanent transfer out of the working cash fund into our O&M fund. That'll then get used to transfer at the end of the fiscal year into our capital projects fund to make it zero balance. So that's just for, especially our new members coming in, that's why we're doing what we're doing. And so we have the bid results here, and I see Liz on there. Liz, I don't know if you can unmute, but I shared just that we had their low bid. Anything else that you'd like to kind of say about this? How did you feel the bidding went?
And it went really well. And sorry, I had a little connection problem here, but we got 5 bids, and your local bank, Libertyville Bank, came in with the lowest bid by quite a bit at 0.29%. The cover bid was 0.65%. So you can see how much lower that is. And it's only about $1,200 of interest. You're going to be paying the bonds off June 15th. So it's very, very short, about 34 days. But as Dan mentioned, this is the way we're able to legally use the money that's accumulated in the debt service fund for capital projects. So this is really a critical problem, critical issue. So thank you so much. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just to clarify, I think it's Wintrust, right?
So
Not
Libertyville Bank and Trust is a Wintrust
Oh,
bank.
is that right? Okay.
So yeah, they're connected,
Yeah,
but
thanks.
it was Libertyville, but it's owned by Wintrust.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yep, so our next steps is we have the resolution tonight to read. And so that'll be something per the minutes that Karen needs to read the title of the resolution as you kind of get to that process of approving that. And then once that is approved, we have a lot of stuff to sign for kind of everybody. So we have documents for the existing board to sign. The attorney on this is extremely particular for a very good reason. They're very, very concerned, like when actually are you reorganizing the board in all this meeting? And Carol and I found out why they're so particular tonight, because there's a lot of documents to sign. So they have documents for the existing board, particularly the president, the treasurer, which is me, and our secretary, to sign prior to the reorganization. And then once the board is reorganized, whoever the new president, secretary, and treasurer are, for those to sign documents tonight. So we have a lot of documents to sign for this particular issuance. So hindsight 2020, I don't intend on issuing debt another time when we have a reorganizational meeting. But we've been trying to do this process with fidelity and urgency to get everything wrapped up by the end of the fiscal year. So we have all the documents tonight, May 12th, we're going to
May
close.
12th is closing, yes.
And then we'll pay off those bonds June 15th, probably June 14th to make it safe.
So Dan, do we want to sign those off then before we convene the second meeting?
We would want you to sign those prior to the reorganizational meeting.
All right, so I think the answer is yes. Yeah, okay, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, so.
There's no doubt then what we've done.
Uh-huh. If the attorney was on here, I'm sure that's what
Yeah,
she
that's
would
what we'll
want me
do.
to tell you.
Right.
So, yep, we want to be very careful. It's a very short issuance, but Many thanks to Carol for kind of help getting me through. There's a lot of documents with a lot of colors for all kinds of things to sign.
Oh,
So,
boy. Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
He wasn't kidding, Dan.
Thank you for being organized.
yeah.
Okay, Dan.
So that's the process. And then at the next meeting, we will have the transfer resolution or the resolution to, in effect transfer, but to abate the working cash bonds that we just got money for, we'll abate that money into the O&M fund. And so that's something that can just happen in one resolution at a meeting. But
At a
we'll do that
future meeting with the new
at our
board.
May board meeting.
At your May meeting.
Yep. All right. That's all I got for you.
So what has to happen next, Dan?
We
Read the
would need a
resolution.
motion and a second for this resolution, but we would need the secretary to read the resolution into, well, we probably need you to start that process and have her read it into.
The whole resolution?
No, the title,
What's on?
which
here,
is one,
Dan?
which
What's
is on the agenda. The resolution title is what's on the agenda.
So you need me to read this or you need
I
Karen to read it?
need you to start that process and
Oh, Kevin can do it.
or Kev, yeah, sorry, I'm
Kevin.
sorry.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, we have a motion approving the resolution providing for the issue of not to exceed 4.62 million of taxable general obligation limited school bonds series 2021 of the district for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof.
And can we actually also have Karen read that as well?
All right. The resolution providing for the issue of not to exceed $4,620,000 taxable general obligation limited school bonds, Series 2021 of the district for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof.
Second. We have to have a motion first, right?
Yes.
It wasn't that the To motion? approve.
Now we have to have a separate motion, Dan?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
motioned to approve. Did you?
Okay,
not?
I did.
And
I
then-
moved to approve. And it's second. I thought that was the motion. I'm sorry.
Kevin Huber School Board.
All right, any comments on that? Dan, thanks for explaining it to everybody. Clear as mud.
And thank you, Liz.
Yes, thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. So, seeing no questions, and I don't see any hands up there, you want to call it, Carol?
Sure. Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
All right, that one passed. Thanks for doing that, Dan, getting that through. Time to move on to fun stuff, and that's the LHS Fieldhouse renovation project.
Yeah, so sorry, I realized my attachment I put under the wrong number. The attachment I have with my memo is 6. I titled it 6C. I didn't realize it was really for 6B. So at 6C, we'll talk about the demo package, but one of the things we wanted to touch on is the overall cost of this project. And what we had found out since our last meeting is that for the LHS pool, the board did approve that project for a dollar amount
what I
not to
thought.
exceed.
Yeah.
The encouraging thing is that happened before I got here, so that made me feel better that I didn't forget it. So we did do that. We did not do that for this Vernon Hills Additions project. So we did not do that for this project, but we've been kind of talking about everything and keeping you updated on the cost since then. But it's a good practice to do that. So I have the information for you for that tonight. So we received we'll talk about it more, I guess, in the next one. We received our rebid for the demo, which is a much lower, $933,000 lower than the bid last week. So that's really great. And I know Mark was wrestling through that in terms of we're trying to do this faithfully and trying to do this expeditiously to get everything ready, but also, man, that $1.2 million bid just does not add up. And so that's really good intuition from Mark and the estimating from Gilbane that they decided to do that. Because not only did we get one bid that was we got one bid under 300,000. We also got one that was 350,000-ish. So that tells you those are real numbers, not just pretend numbers. So we're really happy for that. So We have updated the cost of the project, and so I've included that information for you. So last time when we talked last week, based on an assumption that the low bid would be 500,000, we figured our cost would be around 6.7 million. Now we have, with that low bid, and we have a more accurate number, we would say. The STR fee is adjusted based on the total bid. So because that demo is down, that's down. And then also the Gilbane fee is down as well. And so that's a lot of that is also kudos to you all for talking about that fee and questioning what goes into that fee. Because up until then, I really hadn't gotten that far in the process to really evaluate. I just carried it over what we had the last time. And you all prompted me that I really need to take a much closer look at this. And so we have with Gilbane. And the personnel costs stay the same, the pre-construction stays the same, but the fee, which is based on 2.1% of the construction costs, which would be the trades, some portions of Gilbane's fee, and the contingency, that gets adjusted down because it's much lower. And also the insurance gets adjusted because of lower trades. So our overall Gilbane fee goes down from 650, which was an estimate really at the beginning of that process, to about 605,000. And then SDR's fee goes down to about 403,000. Our earnest costs don't change because those are kind of fixed components that we still feel comfortable. So right now I'm sitting at what it looks like to me as an estimated total cost of this project. And again, there's several numbers we don't totally know yet, but we think these are reasonable numbers to use, such as the sound system. We've got a final cleaning that we won't do until much later in the process. But right now we're sitting at about 6,463,000 for the cost of that. And so in terms of setting a number for the cost of this project, I think a reasonable number to target at for us would be about 6.5 million.
That's
I think is real. It gives us a little bit of extra in case something happens, which we've been to 3 projects now, and we've been over at different periods of time throughout all of those projects. And so I think that's a reasonable number to be at. It's round and it's real. And we certainly hope to come in under that number, but it certainly gives us a very clear target for us to work towards consistently, and also clear for you to know what you're approving, that it's not just $3 million worth of bids. It's much more than that with the design fees and everything else. And for the community to know this is how much this project is costing.
Okay. So you want to, and I'll let Kevin do it, but you want a motion basically to approve the renovations to the Libertyville Field House in an amount not to exceed $6.5 million.
That's what I would recommend to establish for this whole project. The next line item would be to approve the demo bid. And then as we have other things come up, we would bring those to you as well.
Yeah.
But really until now, we didn't really have we were getting more accurate as we kept going on what this is really going to cost.
Yeah,
So if you recall, just even a few months ago, we thought this was going to be $8 million.
Right.
It's not.
2 months ago, it's $8 million project. So
Yeah.
maybe we should wait. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for questioning the
Yeah.
Gilbane fees and really drilling down on that. I think that made a big difference. So thanks.
Just one minor comment on that. So if we didn't spend the contingency at all, would their fees actually go down?
Daniel Stanley Business.
No.
Okay.
You could try to negotiate it, but
just curious.
I've yet to see a project that has change orders. So
No, I'm sure we will spend a good portion of that contingency, but their fee isn't necessarily fixed, or is it fixed?
So essentially it gets converted really to a fixed fee once we kind of finalize everything. And so
it's a small.
Yeah. The change orders is relatively small relative to the whole thing. It's under 10% of the whole project.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's relatively small. So yeah, it's not really changed if it goes down, but it does change if it goes up. Now STR's fee will likely adjust based on what actually ends up happening. But we don't reconcile that until really at the end of the project.
Yeah.
Which is where we're at with the.
And to be
Vernon
clear,
Hills.
when we challenge them on it, they also said it can't go up. So if they have to spend more on personnel, if they have to put more time in it than they planned, that's on them, not on
Yeah.
us. Right?
So
Okay.
for sure, Gilbane did not spend a plan as long as they did on the LHS pool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was all out of, once we were done paying our fee, and that was all their cost.
Yep.
That's their
Okay.
skin in the game.
Kevin, it's back to you.
All right. Any other questions on this? We talked about it extensively at the last finance committee meeting. Is everybody alluded to, we did challenge Gilbane as well as the architect on their fee, and we appreciate them coming down somewhat. So seeing no other questions, can I have a motion to approve the total cost of the LHS Fieldhouse project at not to exceed $6.5 million?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, seeing none. Carol?
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
All right, so that one passes. And then again, now I think, Dan, we do need to, like you said, I think we need to approve the demolition rebid as presented to McDonough Demolition at a cost not to exceed $291,900. Anything else we want to talk about on that?
Just Mark, if you want to just touch base on the bids that it was just this morning. So do you want to just talk about the bids we received?
Yeah, so,
Your mic too.
Mark Copeman, B&G.
Sorry about that. So we went out to bid, as we discussed, last week. We rebid and we received 4 bids, from, different contractors. Our low bid was a $291,900. Our next highest bid was $349,000. We also received a bid for $950,000 and a bid for $1,042,000.
They have a gold-plated crane, or how does that work?
Yeah, it was, the 2 bids were high. We had 2 bids high, 2 bids low. Gilbane went over the project with the low bidder. They answered every question. They were right on. They felt that they had everything covered. So,
Mark Copeman, B&G.
so-
And they're familiar with the contract.
and they're familiar with the contract, and also, Gilbane is presently working on another job that they're performing very well with right now. So
Great news.
there's no reason not to accept this bid.
Staggering the difference.
All right. No, it is staggering. I think we did challenge, if I remember correctly, we thought 500 grand was a lot of money. And the explanation was that it's kind of surgical precision to not completely demolish a building because we are going to be leaving some things up. And so they thought 500 was high end, and the 291 is a welcome surprise. So any other questions?
Agreed.
All right, seeing none, we have a motion to approve McDonough Demolition for a cost not to exceed $291,900 to demolish the LHS Fieldhouse.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All right, let's call it, Carol.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
All right, moving on, Dan, or maybe Mark probably. We're going to do some water main easement agreements.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. So when we started the Vernon Hills project with our additions, our water main was in the way of the Area A building section and also the West Gym. When the building was built, we paid for the water main to install it, and we owned it. When we approached Lake County to get the permit to, move the water main, it's part of the process. You have to go through their Public Works Department. They wanted to take over ownership and maintenance of the water main, which is presently 20 years old. So we talked about it in the beginning of the construction process, and we were in agreement that we would grant them easement. So what this easement does is they own the water main, and the easement for the land allows them to come in and make any repairs and upgrades within that area, and then they have to restore that area back to what it is presently. So this is just one of the final documents we need to file on behalf of the district and Lake County Department of Public Works.
And Pat, it might be one of the biggest documents you've ever had to sign, so accept.
Oh, I see it. In a special pen.
Yeah, okay.
Is there any concern about future construction projects and having enough cooperation or whatnot to move this again if need be?
So we would go through the same process that we did with Lake County. They would obviously own the water main that's in the easement. If we want to put say another addition on and we need to move the water main, it would be a matter of working with them, strike a new agreement to move the water main. We would have, because we're doing the addition, we would pay the cost for the new water main and pay the cost, to write up all the documents in that. And then, so it shouldn't be an issue with them. We discussed that as part of the process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions on the water main easement agreement? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the VHHS water main easement agreement with Lake County Department of Public Works as discussed and presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, any other questions? No, okay, Carol?
Huber,
Aye.
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
All right, the final listed item on the F and F is the Transportation Services Agreement. Amendment and extension, Dan?
Yep, so this is two things. One, we are in the last year of our 3-year agreement with Lakeside. We had a 3-year contract with them. This is the last year, so we are extending this agreement for 2 years. So the increase for next year is 5%, and the increase for the year after that is 3%. I understand the 5% is not ideal, but we've discussed a couple meetings now that really the reason behind that increase from Lakeside is as much as everything is going on right now, it's still very difficult to attract and retain drivers. There's better incentives for them to do something else. And so what they're looking at doing is increasing their rate by $1 per hour. Their average driver rate is $20 an hour. So $1 an hour is a 5% increase. And so that's largely what's going into that cost, which is understandable to me. Then the renewal for the 3% in the next year is consistent with what we've lived under for the last couple of years with Lakeside. They do a good job with transportation. They've done a really great job of trying to accommodate us for our changing needs throughout the pandemic. Additionally, this is an amendment to our agreement for this year that incorporates the request that we made to them back in the fall to get ready to go in transportation in November. We gave them routes, they had everything ready to go, and then the district made a pause. And we told them, okay, wait. And then we made another pause, and then it just kind of kept happening. And so at that time, I had told the board, we've kind of made Lakeside get ready to go. We're going to have to compensate them to some level. And so this agreement does that and pays for a period, I believe it's 37% for that time period in November up until January 19th. January 19th, we start paying actual rates because that's when we started our twice a day routes. Which, we're paying for and that we'll be continuing to do for the rest of the school year. So that's really what incorporates this agreement. We talked about it in concept, but then working out all the actual negotiations with Lakeside, plus the agreement with our attorney and them agreeing and signing off and everything. So this is the final agreement. It's already been signed off by Lakeside, and it's ready for your approval.
Kevin Huber School Board.
Okay, Dan, thanks. Any other questions of Dan on the 5-page or 4-page agreement that was presented in the packet?
Kevin Huber School Board.
Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the Lakeside Transportation Amendment and Extension Agreement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, Carol?
Lundstedt,
Aye.
Rooney,
Aye.
Batson,
Aye.
Carmichael,
Aye.
Grudy,
Aye.
Hessel,
Aye.
Huber.
Aye. Any other for facilities and finance?
I have one other, and that is to say, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
For being my finance chair. We have better financials because of you. We have better financial transparency because of you. We've had better contracts because of you. We've been a wiser steward of our money because of you. And I want to thank you. That takes leadership and a lot of intelligence to help us do that. So, yeah, I just want to take my time to say thank you.
Great job, Kevin.
Yeah, no, you guys are very welcome. It's right up my alley, so I enjoy doing it. Sorry if I stepped on some toes along the way, but you know, at the end of the day, I think we got better stuff done. So it's been my pleasure, and we'll turn it back to Pat. So thank you.
Great job, Kevin. Wish you could be here with us. IASB.
Yeah, just real briefly, I'm not too sure if the new board members got these as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick thing to note, these came in a board packet on Friday, the IASB Constitution, the position statements, belief statements. These are things that I've been the IASB representative for more years than I can count, and every fall at the joint conference, we vote on these. And these are position statements basically that are the marching orders for IASB to support public schools in the state. You know, go to the legislators and, you know, just work with the state in general to support public education. Just give a quick look. It's not the greatest, you know, it might put you to sleep at night if you're in losing sleep. But it's information that's important, I think, for you to understand where IASB comes from and where we support. Every year we get the opportunity to submit new position statements and get those voted on. So we vote on those as part of that meeting in the fall. So just you know, for both the returning board members and the new board members, it might be something interesting to take a look at. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jim. All right, no seat, all right, Karen? Okay, so that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn? There's a second?
Second.
Second, all right, any discussion? Not, roll call, please.
Rooney. Aye. Batson.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
Grudy.
Aye.
Hessel.
Aye.
Huber.
Aye.
Lundstedt.
Aye.
So we don't go away. We got another meeting to go,
Motion
right?
carries. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take about a 15-minute break. I think it's